Hello everyone, this is Fantastic Worlds, looking back to Secret World Interludes and our journey through Lovecraft Country, and this is another tour of the section of Lovecraft Country. This is the outskirts. This is the areas that are pretty far away from downtown but still relevant. The first one is the skate park. It's right on the other side of the bridge, the block bridge we saw way back in Interludes 3. Well, not way back, depending on if you're doing this playlister now. And it's located on the road to out of town. Now, as you can see, it's right in front of this, if you're just passing, at least stop for a bug. I suppose this would be burger, but yeah, blood splatter kind of changes the tone to that. It says, please drive carefully, which is kind of ironic when you look at that pile up, but the skate park itself has been converted into a very small fortress. As you can see, the exterior is littered with the dead bodies and bear traps. Now, if you remembered, there was a mission where we followed bear traps to see who'd set them, and I honestly thought they'd lead back to Danny. But apparently he's holding out pretty well, but my guess is that's... Interesting, he has floodlights down there. That's primarily because they're not trying to kill him. There's a lot of creatures down there. We'll go over them in a bit. But this is Danny himself. Now, Danny, if you've been keeping up with the episodes, was the head of the Monster Hunters League, a group of teenagers who dealt with eldritch horrors and managed to slip through the cracks, and adults wouldn't talk about. And he's actually the son of their leader. If you go back and check the episode, which I didn't notice at the first time, his father founded it in 1987, which makes him the hereditary leader. Unfortunately, according to the lore, and I tried to record that lore, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to come back with a character and do it. The entire league has been wiped out except for Danny. Danny's immune for some reason, like a few others, or he wasn't in the area of effect. Not sure which. Now I'm going to hit his conversation. Let's see if we can find some more information out. So, tell me about yourself, Danny.
Guess I come across pretty hyped up about all this. It's not that I'm enjoying it, you know. I'm not one of those Norwegian black metal guys. I don't, get off on death. But it feels like all my life I've been waiting for this to happen. I've read the books, watched the movies, played the games, buried a survival kit in the backyard.
And that's why he's still alive, and he's not telling us, because we're an adult, at least in body, he's not telling us that he knows this because he's been fighting them for years. Now, this conversation is completely different context if you've gone through the League of Monster Hunters and you're playing. That's episode 16, by the way. Because it reveals that he is an experienced monster hunter. It's not just because he plays Left 4 Dead and he's kind of this brainless bro that doesn't understand the dangers, and he understands it exactly, but he won't let on.
Now this is happening. It's really happening. The freaking zombie apocalypse. And people are freaking out. So I can really do something. I can help make things okay again. Well, not like you. This is like your day job. Saving the world and stuff. Putting your life on the line and needs of others before your own. Right? Right?
Well, he's assuming a lot, but he's actually correct in my part. I'm not just doing this because I'm not doing this just because I've been recruited to do so. I'd be doing this on my own if it wasn't for them, because simply put, that's what this character is for. He is not an Illuminati or the other characters who go secret organizations drone. They think of him as that, but he is literally the empowered guardian of Gaia, to the point where, like I said multiple times before, he ain't human anymore. He can't even talk.
You could work on your outfit a bit, though. I'm just saying, it's a bit weak for a superhero. I could, show you some sketches after we've gone through this. I'm thinking mask, black leather, no cape. Capes are so out this year.
It's not my style. Tell me what you know about the zombies.
So, this is not your average everyday zombie outbreak. Sure, you got your basic shamblers and runners, but they don't just bite. They do other stuff, like special effects stuff. And then there's the tanks. Big Hulk zombies. Not zombie tanks with wheels. That'd be just goofy. But, kinda cool.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's fanfic has that.
We also got zombies rising from the ground. Not just the ocean. Some of them must be, 50 years old. Older. I mean, this isn't a big town. If it was just living folks turning, you wouldn't even call it an army of darkness. It'd be a scout patrol of darkness.
I kind of like that idea, the Scout Patrol of Darkness, just the Boy Scouts in their uniforms just shambling forward and drooling. And somebody out there is writing this, I know that.
But the weirdest thing, no matter how you bust them up, they keep coming back. Mrs. Creed, she roasts them like marshmallows. Pastor Henry buries them in the churchyard. Edgar, well, you don't want to know what Edgar does. Next thing you know, they're coming out of the fog. Again. Over and over again. Sucks to be us.
I guess that's confirmation that the game mechanics are in fact real. The zombies reconstitute themselves no matter what we do it. I'm guessing Edgar feeds them to the dogs. But they just disintegrate, come back out of the fog again, which means this battle is absolutely and utterly hopeless, but we're not going to stop fighting it because it is a holding action to see if we can get the actual solution. Still working on that. Tell me about the drogue.
Yeah, the mutant Smurfs? Not my idea. That's Edgar. I think he even collects Smurf figures. He's a bit weird, but he's totally cool once you get to know him. He's real funny. Just stay away from those dogs. Tango and Cash, they're evil. Carry biscuits. Carry lots of biscuits.
Yeah, I have one of those dogs. I have got to let Rex off the leash more often. Let's see, now what else do you know about him?
I did some research on those blue things. Did you know they're from, like, Viking mythology? They were called Drog, and they're the ghosts of the dead lost at sea. Don't ask me what Vikings are doing in Kingsmouth. I'm thinking ancient blood curse. It's always a curse.
Yeah, it's the episode of Curse of Fenric. That might actually be a reference. I don't know. Yeah, Sylvester McCoy's episodes came out before this did, so yeah, it could be a reference to Curse of Fenric.
I like having a name for the monsters. Better to think of them as something with a name. Something that was human once, you know? In a way that's a lot less scary than Smurfs. Smurfs have no humanity whatsoever.
Oh, gods. Now I'm actually thinking about that. Smurfs is something I watched when I was a kid. The idea of those little bastards, you know what I mean, being bloodthirsty horrors. Small clusters of them crouching when you sleep. I'll let you think about that for a while.
How's having superpowers working out for you? My friend Carter, she has some real Sam Krieg novel stuff going on. It's pretty wild. Like, any girl can give you a drop-dead look, only she could probably do it for real. But she's not like that at all. She won't even kill plants. I've given up on asking her to.
Yeah, we're actually going to meet her in the future.
For someone with powers, Carter is totally normal. She does get steamed about the weirdest things, like me going out alone. But she's not the only one. Sheriff Bannerman wants me back at the station by curfew. Like being out past dinner time is a big deal when the dead walk the earth.
Yeah, she probably just wants you back there to be safe, but you're doing better than most of them at this point. I wonder if Carter's got a protection on you. Carter's a magician, obviously. He's referring to her having powers, so that would explain a lot why he's not dead yet.
I may not be able to shoot fire or melt faces or, you know, jump my own height. But I'm a good runner. I've read all the right comics and I'm, like, great with wires and motors and microchips and stuff.
That's why I named him the Wesley. Yeah, if I had the option, I probably would give this kid a gun. Make sure he knows, you know, proper safety and trigger discipline, but fuck it. At this point, things are so messed up that gun safety is the least of the problem we have here.
Necessity is a mother of invention, right? I've already rigged a bunch of defenses around the town, so watch your step. I figure every superhero needs a brilliant inventor. I've got that much to aspire to. I'm the geeky sidekick. Yay.
Don't know if I need a sidekick. In any case, that is Danny. And like I said, if I ever do the lore hunter part, not hunter series, I'm hoping I get to know more about him. Down here. Now, this is a straight. It runs the...
Local bounty detected. Initiating.
Okay, fine, if you insist. You know how it is. Job never really ends. Work, work, work. But as you can see, they're using the strait here as another breeding point, as it runs from the north shore to the south shore. It literally divides the island into two. There are two islands, and this is where they're divided. Now that's the covered bridge that we saw back in episode 6 with the, well, the dark secret on it, and a rather annoyingly hard to find dark secret. Fine, Kirsten's... there you are. Look, I was done with my quota. You could have lived. Alright, fine. Maybe, probably not. It's getting kind of personal at this point. Dude. You were like friends or something. Nope, nothing here. Interesting. Path is on the map. But yeah, it leads up to the covered bridge with the dark secret. And speaking of dark secrets, I'm gonna go zip over to the other side of this after... Well, actually, hang on. Yep, the abandoned orchard van. Remember how I mentioned before you're gonna find lots of Oriachi dead bodies? Oh yeah. They're all over the place. I don't care how well a normal person is trained. They're not going to have the mindset necessary to live through this, and the further they get away from the Oriachi defenses, the more vulnerable they're going to be. But again, I'll pop over to the other side. Alright then, so this is the other side of the bridge, where you can see the infestation hasn't spread to it for two reasons. One, this area is pretty far from the shore. And two, there's a group of individuals that seem to have some level of protection from it just over here. This, of course, is the Morning Light Camp. We have dealt with them, and they are obviously nowhere near as innocent as they pretend to be. We've already talked to Shay Garcia in the appropriate mission, but these are the surviving members, the four, besides Shay, of Moonbeam, Schwartz. Do you have anybody else? You two don't have the names. So, yeah. Anyways, these guys are here among the protection of the wards, as they are sorcerers to a degree. And yeah, they love the fact they call it the hippie camp as the official place. And they're not innocent. As we noted before, the farmer whose land this on complained bitterly about their presence here, so they killed him. Yeah, Beaumont, the sorcerer behind all of this, spoilers, is their leader. But these guys don't actually present much of an active threat. Now, over here is the tunnel leading out of the next section of the island, the Blue Mountains. Now, we'll get here eventually, but you might notice, I'm guessing that here, if you check, there's another checkpoint on the other tunnel that Sheriff Bannerman tried to set up these checkpoints in order to avoid the zombies coming through the tunnels, but she failed, and they're down to their last... Excuse me. They're down to the last stand at the police station. That utility room is used by the Morning Light for storage purposes. Again, we've been there before. But yeah, that's over here on the northern outskirts. Now, if you head further into town, you start coming across the woods. Now, the woods have a few secrets to them. There's mass graves, which the Drog are using for, shall we say, recruitment purposes. There's a few people who tried to sneak out of here using the back roads. That didn't go well. There's actually a few army veterans out here, too, that are more dangerous opponents. Hi. It's one of the mass graves right here, and as you can tell, it's currently being used up. I mean, we can kill them, but it's just going to slow them down. They'll just get more zombies in here. And these are the ones they've actually managed to get out. But these ones are so badly decayed, it's going to take them a long time to get to the shoreline, so they're not high priority. Which is kind of why I'm leaving them here. But the section back here, this is a collection of dirt roads that runs through the town. Now that's the church over there. You can see the steeple. But as you can also see, this comes over by the sheriff's station as well. So there isn't a lot here. Now, one of the larger sections of the outskirts is over by the airport and seaport. Now, I'm going to do a quick jump cut and we'll deal with the characters that are over there. And I do mean characters. Okay, so here we are over at the majority of the outskirts, which would be the port area. Now, this is the very north. I didn't cover it in my shore zone because it's a bit unique in that, if you recall the Oriachi checkpoint over there, apparently the Drog have been stealing it and trying to somehow plug force field generators to incubate a giant brood pod. I have no idea how this is supposed to work. This is Herbert West's style of science, I'm sure, and he's not going to tell me. But anyways, if you continue down through the outskirts, if you continue down in this direction, past some of the debris and wreckage that we see here, and another one of these super brood pods, past the Oriachi dead bodies, which you'll find littering most zones, I'm afraid. The Oriachi people are only hiring normals at the moment. So, past some of the spectacular pollution, you'll notice that these regular mounds are here, and some of them are a bit too regular for, as you might say, sand dunes. So the answer to that is over here. As you can see, that was called a Norseman. So yeah, there was actually Viking cairns set up here, mass graves from the Viking era, and as you can watch, the Drog have their work crews pulling out more bodies. Personal space, dude. Right then, so since I don't think these guys have a valid excavation permit, let's dispense some justice. Oh, I do like that new ability. In any case, yes, yet another mass grave, but this time from Viking periods. Now, if you know some of your history, you'll know there's actually some archaeological evidence that the Norse visited New England and Nova Scotia. Probably actually from their Greenland colonies, but they never established an actual presence. So their presence here is questionable, but we'll find more about that as the plot continues, I'm sure. Now, just south of that zone is the Junkyard, Edgar's domain. Now, Edgar is an unpleasant individual, but you'll notice there are no actual zombies hanging around his areas. In fact, he's got giant scrap golems. Here, I'll show you one. All they are is just hunks of junk animated by some, magical energies. Now, Kirsten... Oop, hang on a second. I forgot. We want Rex to visit his brother. There we go. Say hello to Rex. Anyways, so yeah. Edgar here is if you recall, when he, seems a bit thick, but he seems to know a little bit more about the mystical than we lets on. So I'm guessing he's probably a wild talent. In other words, he's got some magical abilities been supercharged by the fog's invasion, and he's created these as guardians, because he's going to need more than 2 dogs to keep the zombie apocalypse off to him. Considering the zombies reconstitute themselves, when the dogs eat them, do they just vanish out of their stomach, or do they wait for them to excrete them? Probably don't want to know that. Any case, let's see if we can get Edgar to explain himself. Okay, let's tell me about the fog, Edgar.
Couldn't tell you much about the day that goddamn fog rolled in. I remember seeing it out in the bay, thick and dark, like pea soup. I went outside for a look-see, and then everything went black. I woke up the next morning back in my trailer, splitting headache, like sharp things were crawling around inside my brain. Tango barking like crazy, and Cash staring at the door like something spooked him good out there. Something big and stinky.
Now, here's the thing. Virtually all the townspeople who were affected by the fog walked into the ocean, drowned themselves, and came back as zombies, but Edgar didn't, which is, again, leads to him being a wild talent, because he had a magical ability, he could throw it off. So, that is, my guess. So, yeah, the golems, even the ones that are crawling outside between here and the airport, yeah, my guess is that Edgar's been making them somehow without knowing it.
The fog took the whole town, or most of it, replaced them with Smurfs and Frankensteins. Now, I call them Frankensteins on account of the movies, see? Dead men walking, get it? And the Smurfs, big blue bastards with spikes and claws, those walking brains running the whole fucking freak show. Jeez. Not that it made much of a difference around here. Town was filled with vermin and whores, devil worshippers long before that fog rolled in.
No, devil worshippers is accurate, but he's not winning any charm points with me.
Sure, you got your survivors back at the sheriff's office. That Bannerman lady, Andy, and that big guy, the outsider with the bike. What's his name? Elk? Deer? Gives a shit. Then there's Hawthorne, the pastor. That's not a man you should trust, let me tell you that. He's got Skeletors in his wardrobe. I'm telling you the truth. And that gypsy fortune teller, if she's still alive, the harlot, never slept with me. Slept with half the town, though, including the shrink, sheriff's husband, Bannerman. Hell, as for Norma, she's all right, but I feel a whole lot safer out here alone with my hounds.
I'm liking him less now. Yeah, slut-shaming there, dude. Just because you haven't got the looks, charm, personality, money, or whatever to get a woman, don't put that in the woman, dude.
It's not the first time we've had an incident around these parts now. I've seen things. Bad things. Slimy things. Things with 100 sharp teeth. 1,000 black eyes and terrible thoughts that chew and claw their way into your brain. So that it hurts like a motherfucker. It makes your nose bleed. It gives you terrible nightmares. And they stay there. They never, ever leave you.
Well, yeah, that, again, if he's a wild talent, he would be aware of the actual horrors here. He's sitting on an entire repository of filth, from what we've discovered before. So the man, well, could be one of the reasons he is like this, that the filth is messing with him, or, you know, it could be too much Fox News. Tell me about yourself.
I'm a genuine local. Grew up right here on Solomon Island, just south of town, at the Overlook Motel. Used to be nice down there. Red oaks in the forest, beautiful ocean view. Place all boarded up these days. Been that way since those guests just up and vanished. And those lights and knocking sounds at night. Screams. Word of mouth got round. People stopped coming. And we had to shut down.
Well, we had to shut down, which means that I believe Edgar was an employee, or possibly he was owned by his mother, or father, or mother, but it's only mentioned a mother so far. But yeah, the thing is that the 1987 incident. Now, there's 2 incidences and 3 incidents in 1987, which makes me wonder why it was such a hotspot year. 5 people disappear. The Hellgate sort of semi-opens and closes again, which is an entire storyline we'll have to chase down later. The Wendigo kills several people. Maybe came through the gate, maybe summoned by the gate, because we've seen Wendigo here, and if you know an actual Wendigo myth, that's when somebody commits cannibalism. I don't know if it's the same in this universe or not. Don't know if this is the same universe as Until Dawn, for that matter. So, the other thing that happened is that, of course, the Black House incident, in which its resident, a Wiccan, peaceful Wiccan, is blamed for the problems and then burned alive. I really don't like the people of Kingsmouth for the most part.
Now that whole business at the motel started when the Englishman disappeared. Never saw the man again. Left all his luggage and everything. Didn't even pay up. Wicker, I think his name was. I think it was Wicker. Yeah, his room smelled like cigarettes and booze and sulfur and English stuff, you know. And there was this sticky black stuff all over. I remember because I had to clean it up afterwards.
So he was the janitor. Or he was being used as the janitor by his parents. But yeah, Wicker is yet again another plot line we'll chase down.
By that point, my mama had had enough. What with Pa dying and all. And then Henry and Tom Dexter. So she left for Florida, said I had to fend for my own from now on. At least I had the scrapyard. Been running that ever since.
So his mother abandoned him, which is, you know, explains partially his antisocial behavior, but curious why she didn't take him. Perhaps she suspected that he was a rogue talent. Perhaps things happened around him. Who knows?
Everyone always told me I never amount to much. Everyone said my mama and Tom. Tom Dexter's his name. Now he believed in me. Tom always believed in me. Then he died. And I had nothing. Nothing but his memories inside my brain. And the yard. Of course, I had the yard and my dogs. And my projects. I always got my projects.
Could almost feel sorry for him, but he has terrible attitudes. Well, the other thing is that his memory is inside his brain. That just a metaphor, or is he psychic?
Those fuckers back in town. They'll be howling a different tune when they watch me ride out of here. Waving my handkerchief, blowing exhaust up their tight assholes. Fuck you! They're gonna be sorry for treating me the way they did. Calling me a retard and bad-mouthing my mama. God bless her soul. They're gonna pay for what happened to Tom Dexter, I'll tell you that too. I swear on my life.
Tom Dexter, I don't think you've run across that yet. Keep that in mind. But yeah, dude, you're out here holding a block point with force fields and automatic rifles and no doubt more heavier artillery, so even if you manage to get the wheels on this wreck, I don't think you're making it very far.
I got a list for my bus. It's a short list for a short bus. God damn, I'm funny.
No.
It's got me on top, of course. They're my dogs. Mrs. Creed, she's on there. Andy, if he asks nicely with politeness. The widow Franklin, she's welcome to have a seat. And the engine fella, Red. Yeah, maybe him too. And the rest of them, devil worshippers, whores, liars, and cheaters. They can watch the rest of us roll out of here, over the bridge and through the fog. They can rot in here until the day of judgment, until the day of Exodus.
I don't know, man. I think you're dreaming there. Why does he want to talk about quantum mechanics?
Jesus Christ! Do I look like a college professor? I ain't got no fancy words. All my genius is in my hands. Frankly, they got neither the time nor patience to be explaining shit to you.
Lovely.
Just don't give up, do you? Look, quantum motors is just motors, except you don't see the motor. You following? Gotta shut your eyes and focus on the sub and tonics of things.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is part of his wild talent.
You see the itty bitties? They go in one end, then gazillions of tiny little gears start grinding up against each other, and then poof, you get these bitty titties shooting out the other end.
Alright, that's it. I'm done with you. Need to go somewhere and clean my brain out. Now, there's a bit of a mistake here, I think, in the dialogue as he talks about his trailer, but this is his house. We know because there's a mail delivery mission. I don't show the mail delivery missions because there aren't really anything to them. You pick up a package and deliver it. But yeah, this must be his mother's house. And obviously it's got the requisite, you know, wrecks in the front yard and the backyard and golems. Which definitely means it's his place. But yeah, these golems are not made of junk. They're made of mud and stone and other raw material here. And as you can see, they're not terribly animate, which makes you think that the further they get away from him, the less animate they are. Now, this road out here leads to the port of Kingsmouth. The port itself has the airport on the further left, and on the right we have the shipyard. Now, the shipyard itself is actually apparently, it's kind of not obvious, but hang on, guys. I'll be there in a minute. But yeah, these warehouses...
Assignment received. Initializing.
Corpse Clinger, you see what I mean? That's not it. Anyways, yeah, Weekend Warrior. That refers to the National Guard. It's a insult, playful insult. You can do the National Guard if you're in the military, but thing is, my guess is this is a National Guard. Come on. There we go. Yeah, this is the National Guard depot. And there's not a lot to it, actually. Just, it's kind of a lot of space. My guess is that they were planning to do something with it, or there was something to do with it in the original one, but now it's just a bunch of zombies wandering around stacks of boxes. Inside, there's a couple of boss monsters, too. But look through the window here, you'll see our friend Mr. Hill, and I definitely want to go in and interview him. We're gonna have to riff-raff a little first. Rex does like to run, doesn't he? Where are you going? You teleport? Dude, your master must be a magician. But yeah. Liquid fuel tanks. Lots of trucks. Warehouses. Lots of dead people. And as you can see, it leads right back to the beach. So this section right here, like I said, nothing terribly exciting. I'm sure there's probably a few hidden lore nuggets here and there, but I don't really have the patience. Now, if you notice off to the left here, there are some of the hulking zombies. Now, this indicates that there must be filth in the area that's been transforming them. But, first things first, let's go talk to Mr. Hill at the Kingsport Municipal Airport. Now, you notice this area is pretty deserted. Hill's been keeping his traps to keep these guys going, but frankly, since they can't seem to be able to walk around a fence, it's not really that difficult to keep them off. I suppose they'll eventually chew down the fence and get him, but man does seem to have his priorities. Now, as you can see, he's still back here. Now, if you remember way back in the mission, he's actually not Mr. Hill. He's a Phoenician agent that, Is that you making that noise? What are you doing? Anyways, he's actually a Phoenician agent who killed the real Mr. Hill and took his place. Now, we discovered during the course of his adventures, so to speak, but we're leaving him in place as the Illuminati and the Phoenicians are technically not at war, and I'm not authorized to deal with individual problems like this. On the other hand, I don't like people who just casually murder other people. So, let's see what he has to say for himself. There we go. Tell me about yourself, Mr. Hill.
I've been up and down the coast. Up and down a whole bunch of coasts my whole life. A lot of machine shops, engine yards, planes, boats, big boats. You could say I was a born fixer, a can-do man. The bosses point me at a problem, they know it's gonna get fixed. I'll find a way.
Yeah, first of all, the Phoenicians are considered sailors, so their domain's the sea, so you'll see a lot of coasts. And fixer is also another name for an individual who fixes problems by making them go away, as in people. So yeah, a little gun in the back there is indicator too. The man is essentially an assassin and saboteur.
In my experience, there's nothing in the world that won't yield with the right tools applied to it. Just might be my mantra. You gotta take pleasure in what you do. Don't you agree? That's important. Identify the problem, enact the solution, and reap the rewards of a job well done.
I think it sounds vaguely like interrogation, too.
Look, I don't mean to sermonize. I bet people are lining up to tell you what to believe, what rules you should follow, what morality they define. But if you can't find pleasure in acting it out, somebody with your assets, could be there's another port out there for you. But keep it in mind.
And there's the recruitment speech. And after all, I don't think the Phoenicians have any of their own bees, as it were. Now, he seems to know something about the Drog.
Their spirit doesn't break easy, the sea beasts. Spending more time working them over than seeing to the plains. They're about as resilient and twice as stubborn. The sea breeze things tough, scours out weakness. That's how it works. So I really have to go to town with the power tools.
Yeah, he's probably got more than power tools on his side, but yes, considering Drog are ocean-based, I'm guessing the Phoenicians deal with them a lot, which he knows how to deal with them. But I'm wondering, well, we'll get to it when we ask him about the fog.
But spare the rod, spoil the abomination. These birds are all grounded to the fog lifts. Radios fritz. I ask you, What else for a man to keep himself occupied with? Not whittling wood, not while we're under invasion. So I've been sapping off aviation fuel, using it for Greek fire.
That's a good idea, actually. Greek fire is a form of primitive... He's looking at me. Form of primitive flamethrower fuel, as it were.
Lit them up and shit. They didn't like that. No school like the old school when it comes to warfare. Extreme measures are timeless. Speaking of such, pray you're out of here before the higher powers do so unto this whole island. Oh, you don't think they have that plan? Drop the bombs and sow the salt. An infamous land where nothing may be built for all time.
I like to know where that quote comes from. But yeah, we do know that the Pentagon will eventually level this place, and we're not allowed to take anybody out. So everybody here is doomed.
This storm, everything in it, it'll pass. That's the straight truth. And you know you can believe it because I'm all about certainty. Goes with my line of work. A certain method and certain results. No one wants to put their life or money in the hands of a betting man.
I don't know about this storm passing, dude. This is the end of the world.
My advice, and you can take it on board or not, is to learn what you can from this. Because this is a learning experience. Like a bulldog getting its first blooding. Bad times show you how far these people are willing to go. Show you a few home truths about yourself. Get ready to see a bunch of appeals to virtue overturned.
Desperate times usually bring out the worst or the most extreme in people.
Now, I won't be casting judgment on your actions. We're not so different, you and I. At the end of the day, we're fixers. We got a job to do. Come hell, come high water. Come hell out of high water.
That's eventually going to happen too, but still don't like you. Anyways, let's check out the rest of the airport. Now, he was actually wrong. There's also these traps he set. You gotta look out for those. He's also wrong in that this area here... Hang on a second. Okay, he's also wrong in that the radio is working. We know it's working. One of our missions is to intercept his transmission and cut off a Phoenician delivery. But on the other side of the airport, closer to the bridge, next to the wrecks, apparently airship pilots are not the best, you're going to find the Orachi Men in Black's outpost. Now, you can't actually get to it from the surface because they have the force field set up, and even if you manage to jump over them, they'll shock you because they've got the guards here. It is possible to go underneath in the tunnels. We've done that repeatedly. But as you can see most of it from here. It's just a couple of helicopters on the tarmac. There are supplies, a few computers, and of course the EMP generators we knocked down for Danny earlier. So I don't really feel like I need to, push on their hospitality for another case, and their coffee sucks, so stealing it's not worth it. So, okay, that's the airport. We've got at least one more section to try. See you there. Yeah, remember this guy? Last section of the outskirts is where we came in from. The Portal de Garthia is over there, and this is Mr. Jack Boone, who we ran into. First of all, give us a little somewhat useless briefing. But he's, John Wolfe's partner. May not be great, but, maybe, I don't know, maybe this is actually the Lone Ranger and Tonto of the later years? Who knows? Anyways, tell me about yourself, Mr. Boone.
I come from the South. The real old South. My partner Wolf and I ride for a higher authority. When you need to know us, you'll know us. You got a whole lot to learn about the secret world first, kid. And when you're all learned up, then you gotta understand what you learned.
Man gargles with gravel.
Kinda like peeling the layers off an onion. Probably be as much weeping involved too, won't lie to you. Won't talk down to you neither. You and me, we're the same. I'm just more experienced is all. And experience don't count for much these days. We've been stretched out thin as gauze. We need all the cool heads and steady hands we can get.
So is he a bee? It's a question. I mean, there was mass empowerment of the bees, desperation, but it could have been that Gaia selected champions earlier. Now, one of the things I've been joking about is his voice, but here's the thing where being a biologist pays off. The older you get, the more gravelly or deeper your voice gets. Now, to most people, we live 76 years. It doesn't matter that much, just barely detectable. But theoretically, if you were an immortal, you would, in fact, be getting more and more deep and gravelly as time goes on. So if this guy has been around since the actual Old West, that voice of his could be natural. Now, I don't know about deal about Wolf, maybe being a magician, because remember, we've never seen Boone actually use any magic. He might be able to stain himself better.
Thought I had a measure of the absolute darkness in this world. The darkness waiting its turn, patient as all hell to come through. Turns out I was wrong. So, guess we both got some learning to do.
Apparently he got impatient. So let's see what he knows about the island.
Too much going wrong for such a little island. But this is how it always starts. As I've borne witness more times than I care to remember.
Apparently other hot spots. My guess is he was a troubleshooter like we are back in the day.
Begins with a single act. Usually someone being damn stupid, damn greedy, or both. Let me tell you, kid, that kind is the worst kind. Then it just piles on and piles on. And once that cellar door's open, ain't no one witching the damn thing shut again.
So he's referring to the removal of the Sword of Light by Joe Slater was the initiating event, although Beaumont has been adding to it with his own particular brand of chaos, as it were.
You won't find ordinary people in a place like Solomon Island. They've all been touched. Because, you see, here's the thing about the secret world. It's the kind of secret that spreads, the kind that sticks. Hell, that's how myth and legend got going. On a whisper. Passed door to door, gone viral.
Obviously it's true. Word of mouth. All those legends and fairy tales come from some truth in this world.
Mighty dangerous things to get into people's heads. That's why most myths are 99% warning. Yeah. About as effective as the ones they slap on a packet of smokes.
I suppose that since we got the bees powering us, that really doesn't matter if we smoke. I don't see us dying of cancer.
So, Illuminati.
Unfortunately.
You guys have been missed around these parts. Just take a look and see. Put on one hell of a homecoming parade for you.
I'm not proud of this, but I don't think I was involved in it.
Now, I saw a head office sweeping the shit under the rug on TV, but if they sent you out, I guess they're trying corporate responsibility on for size, huh? Only they don't really do responsibility now, do they? I understand. It's the pioneer spirit of the American century. Home of the brave and all. I'd sure be the one to talk now, wouldn't I?
Honestly, they're here to... How do they put this? They're here because the end of the world has not been scheduled underneath their schedule quite yet. And to see what they can get out of it.
Or is it because the Templars are digging here now, sniffing at old bones? I reckon they've been waiting a long time for the Illuminati to slip up. Ain't no quarrel like an old-fashioned quarrel.
I wonder how long these two have been going at it.
Well, you listen, kid, I ain't here to pass no judgment. Find the measure yourself. And if it should match up with the company you keep, well, then I tip my hat to you. Society is what keeps us apart from the dark.
Interesting idea. Whether or not it's better to have the Illuminati or to have chaos, I've got my own opinions on that. Well, that's almost political, though. But yeah, this is the final part of the outskirts, the road to the Savage Coast, where we came in for our first initial mission. And right now, in retrospect, we are no longer fresh-faced first-level noobs. We can just carve right through them. In any case, that's about it for this section of Solomon Island, the Kingsmouth area. So next we'll be heading for the Savage Coast, probably starting in on the demonic beach party and heading our way clockwise around the coast. And of course ending at the... Oh, hi dude. Ending at the Academy. So, until next time, this is Fantastic Worlds and Secret World Interludes, and Lovecraft Country, and we'll see you later.
You will see the dawning of a new age. To be a monarch or a beggar. To lose everything or to become a god. To stand with us or against us. The choice is yours.